Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Expectations with me, Craig. I hope you all enjoyed the special episode that we did last week featuring FPL Mariner and FPL Lens to give us a real insight and detail into matchups between teams. Game week 12 just finished over the weekend. Game week 13 is coming upon us in about 4 hours' time or something like that, to help you with a quick turnaround in matches. Now, a lot went on over the weekend. I know you all have a lot of questions for us to help you with your teams. And obviously, as always, I'm not alone here. In the studio with me, we've got FPL Mariner and Joe FPL. How you doing, guys?
Hey,
Yeah,
how's it going?
not bad.
How are you feeling, Marina?
Oh, I'm better now.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to ask, Mariner, good to have you back. You look very well. And I hope, you're well rested. Everything's good. And you got a big smile on your face, which is what we like to see.
Yeah, I'm better now, thanks. That's always nice to get some good wishes. But I think it was also quite nice to have a bit of downtime, I think we all need it from time to time. So
definitely. Where's the international break when you need it, eh?
Yeah, I could have just done a break, actually. Yeah, it'd been really good.
And Joe, how was your game week 12? All good?
Yeah, not too bad. Green arrow. That's all I could hope for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. I mean, we're all about the green arrows here. And we, as always, we want you to have green arrows too. And by you, I mean everyone that's watching. This is another live episode. We've gone live. This is the first of 2 episodes we're looking to do today. Obviously, as I mentioned, sorry about that. Joining me on here is FBL Mariner and Joe. And later, about an hour, 45 minutes before the deadline, we're going to do a deadline special with Surya from All About FPL. So it is a long night. There are 2 matches today, which we're going to look forward to. But first up, Mariner, show us what happened with your team during game week 12.
Well, I actually ended up with a red arrow. I mean, everything. It's always the same, isn't it? If you check your live rank halfway through the game week, you think everything's going really well, and to be honest, I wasn't doing badly, but it was probably all due to the fact that I had Martinez, with his 11 points, which was quite nice. Apart from that, the week's been a bit average, really, I would say. Walker Peters got a return again. Hardly surprising, given that it was Sheffield United. Robertson was very disappointing to me. Again, Leeds, no shakes at the back, very poor at the back. Chilwell, disappointing. Fernandes and De Bruyne, I think De Bruyne certainly unlucky.
Yeah.
They're going to blank from time to time, but you wouldn't expect them both to blank the same week, eh?
Yeah.
Then I got my bit of luck, of course, with Salah, and that was like purgatory watching that match, I have to say. And I watched it on catch up because I was still recovering a little bit. I mean, my heart sunk when they said, they're going to take Salah off, and then
immediately they get a penalty.
Yeah, but then he nearly missed the penalty as well.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's Mariner. I mean, you've watched a lot of football games during your time, but for me, the amount of times I've seen controversial penalties being given, and they then go on to miss it, and or the keeper saves it, or whatever. It just doesn't end up being a goal and then everyone always goes with the old line: justice is done, and this, that, the other. And it was very close to being that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But I'll take it, mate. I have to say I needed those points. Because apart if I hadn't had that, it'd been a big red. But I'd say DCL and Bamford assists, but didn't do a lot more. Calvert-Lewin could have had a second assist if it wasn't for a very marginal offside. Yeah. As for the bench, well, junk. But enough said about that. So I ended up. I'm on 765 points. I'm still ranked in the top 100k. game week rank of 3 mil, so just a little bit above halfway, but just took a little bit of a red arrow, dived from I think it was around 74,000. So down about 20k, but still very happy where I am after game week 12.
Perfect. Joe, we're going to come on to you and talk us through your game week 12 team.
So basically, like we shared during the week, my team and Mariners team, we have 10 same players. Okay, so I don't know whether I'm copying him or he's copying me.
Would you say it's template?
Yeah, or probably we appear too many times in the same show, you know. So the only difference, the only different player that we have made all the difference, I think. I have Adams and he has Dallas. So that's where my green arrow came from Adams.
Okay.
Other than that, you know, same team, same players. Hopefully, probably slightly more different going to game week 13.
Yeah, well, that's what we're definitely going to find out during this show. For those of you all who are watching live on YouTube, yes, I see your comments. We'll get to them. Please do, if you have any questions, fire them on the side. We'll answer them during our FPL questions from the community section. So please don't think we're ignoring you. We're not. We're going to proceed with the show. Mariner, going to come to you. Now, quick turnaround with games, obviously. During, from last week to this week, not a lot of rest time. But we're going to touch on Chelsea. Now, Chelsea have some obviously fantastic players from an FPL perspective, but are they really producing in FPL points?
Well, I wouldn't say probably not, to be honest. I mean, certainly, I think if any, Werner seems to have been, hot or very cold. I don't, sort of lukewarm or very cold, perhaps, is probably a better way of putting it. I think they're probably missing Ziyech's service at the moment to a certain extent. So I just think, look, they just don't seem, they didn't seem quite there, did they? For me, anyway, that's the way I look at it. It's hard. It's a tough one. I mean, who have they got coming up? They've not got easy. I don't think the games are particularly easy either. Going forward.
Well, let's look at game week 13. They've got Wolves away. Maybe last season we would have looked at this and said, okay, it's a tougher game than it should be. It could be a tricky game going away to the Molineux Stadium. But Wolves this season haven't really been the same team, have they? They've obviously lost a few players. They brought in, quite a few new players. And obviously the big one is that they're missing Raul Jimenez now, and they're looking very blunt up front.
Yeah, definitely. I think the way I would look at Chelsea is twofold. I think defensively, I think they look a very, very good, attractive proposition for the Christmas period. I would go as far as saying I would consider even doubling up on them now. But what I would do is I would be looking at those with, it has to be one of Chilwell, James or Zuma, in my opinion. Whoever you've got, I wouldn't move them. I would stick with who you've got because I think they're all doing fine. It's just, would you consider bringing a second one in? Because there is still the opportunity for clean sheets. But more to the point, they still have the opportunity to bring you attacking returns as well, particularly Zuma, given the fact that he's a mountain, isn't he? He's a man mountain with respect to headers. So he's scored, four? I think he's got 4 already this season. I'd be very surprised.
Yeah,
I'd be very surprised if he get 2 or 3, 4 more before the end of the season. Wouldn't be surprised at all, given the quality of the service that he will get at times when he's in the box. So Chelsea defence, interesting. Chelsea attack, on the other hand, for me, I think if I owned Werner, I would probably now be actively looking to get rid of him.
Yeah. Joe, I'm going to come to you in regards to Wolves. Now, Wolves, obviously, from attacking point of view, we looked at Podence, we've looked at Jimenez, obviously. But what we've noticed is that there hasn't been a real return from any Wolves player in an attacking sense. But where they have picked up a lot of points from an FPL point of view is defensively. Now, is this Wolves defense good enough to hold out against a very good Chelsea side?
I think they might still do well because Chelsea, like what we have noticed, they sort of fizzle out in their attack recently.
Yeah.
So we might be even looking at another potential 0-0. Hopefully not. But the problem with Wolves defense is, from an FPL perspective, is this Nuno. He's still chopping around his defense. Even Bolly got benched. When we are also surprised when he got benched the last game week, and you have nightmares. Like Saiz coming back and Kilman. Suddenly just fall back to the bench, and so I think in the FPL perspective, FPL's perspective, I would probably avoid. But in terms of football, I think they might be able to hold Chelsea back this time.
Okay, just looking at some of the comments while we're talking about this Wolves versus Chelsea game, which is happening in a few hours' time. I think it's about 5 hours' time from now. We've got Ghana 2006, Zuma Airlines. FPL Swing says Zuma is Chelsea's top scorer. Is that actually surely not?
Yep. That's right.
In the Premier League, right? We're talking about.
Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy for your centre back, especially in a team like Chelsea as well, with the quality of attackers that they have. But great FPL Swing. That's a great stat right there. Afternoon, Kieran. How you doing? Good to have you on here.
I just want to add Zuma and Werner. They are both on 4 goals, top scorer.
Both on 4 goals. Okay, yeah. I thought Werner surely would be somewhere up there. Ghana 2006 says clean sheet Wolves. I'm not so sure, but you wouldn't be surprised. No. Hassan 0.0 says James, Zuma, Chilwell. As long as Ziyech is out. Since Chilwell relies way too much on the Ziyech near post crosses. Has he got something there?
I think he's certainly coming. There was obviously the time where Chilwell does get into the box and he gets at that back post, doesn't he? So I think that's maybe what he's referring to. I mean, look, Chilwell's got a lot of things going for him as it is. Now, if I didn't have either Chilwell or James, who would I probably go for? I would probably go for James, given the fact he's a bit cheaper. And I think his output's very similar. But James is now on, I think, 3 yellow cards. So we've got to remember that we're starting to get to a point where if he picks another yellow card up tonight, then then he could end up with a suspension over the Christmas period if he picks up that one. So I think we've always got to keep an eye on that. But if I was bringing one in, I would go for James.
James, I mean, I saw the match the other weekend. Some of the balls that he's whipping in, I mean, they're absolutely quality. Just looking through the Chelsea and Wolves questions that have just been popping up here while we're on the subject. What do you think of my plan over the next 4 game weeks? Zaha, Jota, Chilwell, and Bamford out. Bowen, Podence, Reguilon, and Kane in. Now, there's a couple of players there that we've mentioned already, especially Podence. Obviously, not great attacking returns so far this season. And Chilwell, who we've just been talking about. A little bit cheaper option could be James, which could possibly upgrade some of those players that he's mentioned. But what are your thoughts, guys? Zaha, Jota, Chilwell, and Bamford to leave his team. I'm guessing he's taking a free hit. I mean, a lot of transfers there. And then Bowen, Prudence, Reguilon, and Kane in.
Yeah, I was going to say the first thing I would say, Craig, is that I don't know that I'd be taking Zaha out at the moment. I mean, he still looks talisman material to me, as much as I don't own him. So I think, first of all, I wouldn't. Jota's an obvious one. He's out for 2 months. Chilwell, as we've just said, Bamford, again, he's still doing stuff. He was a little bit isolated, though, wasn't he? He didn't really get much.
Was. Yeah.
But that, not to say that that's going to change round. I still think he's great value. Looking at the other players, Bowen, yes, I like him. Podence, he will benefit from not having Jimenez around. But they are no great shakes going forwards.
Yeah.
Reguilon, I really like. Again, this is my idea for this Christmas period is attacking defenders. Yeah. The reason for that is the matchups are not there for clean sheets. It's much easier. It seems that it's easier for attackers to get returns than defenders to get clean sheets at the moment, from my perspective. From everything that I look at with my data, it tells me that it's probably harder to get a clean sheet than it is to get an attacking return. That being the case, I think if you're going to go for your defenders, you may as well go for ones who might have an opportunity for an attacking return. And that's why I quite like Reguilon.
One of the interesting things I saw when watching the Chelsea match was that Chilwell's off the corners, off the set pieces, now that Mason Mount is in the side. And is that worrying for Chilwell owners?
I'm not worried about it at the moment. But saying that, I would, if I didn't have other fires to put out, would I be starting to shuffle my pack in preparation for bringing Kane back? Possibly.
Yeah.
And one of those moves may well be Chilwell down. So going forwards, but that would be to someone like James almost definitely.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't leave myself without a Chelsea defender.
Correct. Yeah. Sheila says, I did Chilwell to James just to avoid burning a free transfer in game week 12. Mahrez, we've got a few Mahrez questions. Ghana 2006 says Ademola, I'm guessing Traore or Souček, lads.
Ademola, I think it's Lookman.
Traore.
No, Lookman.
Is it Lookman is he on about?
Yeah.
Okay, Lookman and Souček. We'll come to that later. Ghana 2006. It's over 4 weeks, and I already have James as Chelsea cover. Kane and Reguilon ready for fixture swing in game week 16. That's good. I think we're done there in terms of Chelsea and Wolves. Any captaincy options there for Chelsea? Would you put an armband on a Chelsea asset this week, Joe?
No. We all know who is it about, this coming week. It's all down to two main players that we all talk about
two main players, which we'll come on to in a bit. It will bring us nicely to the second game for tonight. Man City versus West Bromwich Albion. Now, we're just talking about, how the captain's armband boils down to two players this week. We've seen it all over Twitter. If you're following all the FPL accounts, it's the big question. Are you going to go red? Are you going to go blue? Are you going to go Bruno Fernandes? Are you going to go Kevin De Bruyne? Now, boys, yeah, exactly. On our private chat, on our FPL expectations chat, Mariner, you mentioned that this could possibly be the tightest captaincy call, this season maybe. Just how close is it between the two?
It is very close. If we look at the chief sort of protagonists, and I'll run through four. So we'll start with Mahrez. Okay, Mahrez, 3 big chances in the last 3 games, 4 big chances created, expected points 25.5. KDB, 3 big chances, 4 big chances created, 25.4. Sterling, 3 big chances, no big chances created, 14.4. So that probably looks to be the weaker one. And then Bruno, 2 big chances, 3 big chances created as well. So they're all creating chances. They're all actively involved. if we look at the matchups, and I think this is where I think it might swing me. Sheffield United, big chances conceded, 8. West Brom, 8. Shots in box, Sheffield United conceded 29. West Brom conceded 41.
Wow.
And Sheffield United headers conceded 5 against West Brom 8. That tells me that Manchester City have the better fixture. And therefore, my captaincy will be on Kevin De Bruyne.
Joe, does it make a difference that West Brom will be going away from home? They could possibly be, a lot more defensive-minded to frustrate City. I mean, we've seen it before. Smaller teams going away to play big teams and frustrating them just by putting bodies behind the ball, 11 men behind the ball. We've seen them crowd the penalty area. Is it going to be one of those days at the Etihad tonight?
I mean, based on I digged out some of the stats like home versus away for the past. I mean, this season, it doesn't seem to be that way, Craig. I just checked my stats. It says West Brom away. They're shipping out goals. That's for sure. They are the first in above all teams. Ship out the most goals. 0 clean sheets away. They concede shots on target. They are number 2 on 37. Basically comparing. I also checked shots from set pieces conceded. Also, they are number 3 of all teams away. So basically, I'm comparing Sheffield United at home versus West Bromwich Albion away. They are quite similar. But the one that stands out to me is the fact that West Brom concedes many more goals compared to Sheffield United. So I don't know. I've tried to look at the teams they're going to face. I've also dug out stats. This is across 12 weeks. Some people might say, form might change, things like that. So I've also looked at the past 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Home and away. West Brom versus Sheffield United. They are quite similar. In terms of their stats. So it's really quite tough. Looking at the players that we are looking at to captain and looking at the teams they are playing, it's really a small margin. Really small margin.
So we acknowledge that City probably have the better fixture up against West Brom. But let's get into it. Let's dig a little bit deeper right now and bring up the 2 players that are pretty much in question in terms of captaincy for game week 13. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about Bruno Fernandes versus KDB. Now, I mean, this is 2 obviously very influential players for the teams. They're on set pieces. They're on penalty kicks more importantly. But they're the focal point of their team, aren't they? Everything goes through them. Mariner, I'm going to come back to you. When we're talking about the specific stats for these 2. I mean, goal involvement, chances created. I mean, Bruno's we know is through the roof, but KDB, has decent stats to support this as well.
Yeah, and he also has these returns, and I think this is the other thing. Both of these players have the ability to get multiple returns. So both are on penalties.
Yeah,
both are able to create assists. KDB is probably due that goal. I've been saying it for long enough now. He must get a goal in open play soon. Yep. It's just inconceivable to suggest he doesn't. Maybe this might be the week. But I genuinely look at the 2 and I'm trying to find a reason. And obviously, I do like the idea of captaining Bruno away at Sheffield United. They're no great shakes, right? They're really not. And obviously, we all know what Bruno's record away from home is. But one important thing, and we talk about rotation, we talk about time on the pitch. There's one big difference between these two. In December, Bruno was on the pitch every minute of the Champions League. KDB wasn't on a single minute.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going into the rest factor, the fatigue.
I am, and I think if you looked at it from the league side of things, you would think you'd think that it would flip, because it does, because Bruno has been on the pitch less than KDB with respect to league in the last 3 games. But when it comes to the Champions League, that's the complete opposite. So if you looked at the two teams, and I actually posted this stat alongside the captaincy metric deliberately tonight. I posted an extra column on Twitter, and it's all on there. So if anybody wants to check it out, please do. But KDB so 2 Champions League games, 3 Premier League games, 66% of the time he's been on the pitch. Fernandes has been on the pitch. In fact, I think that's maybe miscalculated. Actually, no, he's been on the pitch around. I have to roughly calculate. It's not calculated properly. Let me see if I can recalculate it whilst I'm talking to you. I think I just need to drag it down.
Yeah, no worries.
No, it's not working.
Just reading some of the comments on the side there. A really good stat from me from 0.0. But finish off first, Mariner.
Well, it's okay. So I'm just trying to work it out roughly because the calculation's gone skewy. But I would say we're probably looking at Bruno being on the pitch around 90% of the time. So in total. So in real terms, it looks like Bruno is. But then we've got another point, which is Bruno has got 2 extra days rest. This is where it becomes so complicated. You've got swings, you've got things pulling you in one direction, and then you've got other decisions going in the opposite direction. For me, I just think the 2 full rests for Kate, the fact he has not played a midweek at all in the last few weeks, I think KDB will start. I think Pep needs a result, and I think he'll start. Now, will he stay on the pitch more than 65, 70 minutes? Maybe not.
Yeah.
But hopefully, by that stage, he's got some points, and we're okay.
Hassan 0.0 says Bruno's goal involvement percentage for United is much more than KDB's for City. Plus a slight KDB rotation risk makes me lean towards Fernandes. Now, we've just spoken about that rotation risk. We feel that KDB is good to start. But the goal involvement percentage there, Joe, I mean, it's much more than KDB's for City. Does that make you lead towards Bruno more than KDB?
I mean, percentage involvement. For me, it only means that if in the event United do score a goal, high chance he will be involved.
Correct.
So does United scores more, or Man City score more?
Well, let's not forget. I mean, they've been missing Aguero. They played with the false 9 before in the league. Jesus has tried to fill in the big boots of Aguero with no great success. I mean, we've seen games where KDB has created many chances that have just been skewed wide or a keeper saved or whatever it is. But, is there enough there to suggest that Bruno Fernandes will be a better captain option for game week 13?
I mean, as what Mariner says, it's so complicated. It's just so complicated. You can look at certain stats and you feel, hey, Bruno is the one, and you can look at certain stats and it says, KDB is the one you should go for. So it's it's really how you look at the stats, to be honest, and combined together with the eye test. For all you know, they both going to score 10 points each again, like what we had a few weeks ago. But I got a feeling. I just got a feeling like anyone that we go for, they will do well in this game week. It's just really, really. I mean, if you ask me right now, currently I'm on KDB all week.
Yeah.
But looking at certain stats starts to sway me a little, which I'm not so comfortable with.
Yeah, right.
So my gut feel, I would still go for KDB. I would think this is where your gut feel is really important.
I mean, it's that close. We could flip a coin and and decide it. And we've seen bankers of weeks where it's just never actually happened for us. Apparently, I'm sure you've had a few of those as well. But that's the beauty of FPL, isn't it? Do you gamble or do you follow the stats? I mean, it's a tough one. Bruno versus KDB, just to end that. Yeah, Marina, go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say ultimately that's exactly it. I mean, if you want, I'll get the cat on the stage and get into the sound killer.
Yeah. You can actually post that up on Twitter.
Yeah,
I'll do
I
that.
think we will need a cat.
Yeah, I'll do
Yeah,
that.
show.
We don't need the coin anymore these days. We go for the cat. So, boys, finally, just to end this little segment here, KDB or Bruno? Marina?
KDB.
Joe?
Yeah, my gut feel says KDB.
So KDB it is. Guys, if you're watching out there, if you still haven't decided as to who the captain, are you going to give it to Bruno or are you going to give it KDB? Look, follow your gut feel is what the boys say, but they're all on KDB, including me. So yeah, what is said to be an exciting week could just get that bit more exciting, especially if Bruno Fernandes pops up and has a monster of the week. Just imagine that. But yeah, we're going to go straight on. Boys, for game week 13, any more shouts that you want to do? Any players that you've been eyeing up? Obviously, the deadline is about 3 hours to go as of now. Just under 3 hours, rather. Mariner, are you making any changes to your game week 13?
I've took Jota out and brought Souček back in.
Have you actually? That didn't go very well, did it? Oh, actually, you got a return from it. You did get a return.
I've had him all the time, and I took him out 1 week, and he goes and and Jota gets injured. I mean, at least at the end of the day, I did take Souček out for Salah and captained him, so I got the return. I did benefit from it, and it was for free. But no, bloody hell! I mean, look, I'll be honest with you, and I think there's a few questions about this. It is probably one of the most difficult questions of the week. What the hell to replace Jota? I actually think there's not many choices.
Yeah.
And I looked at it long and hard and just went, you know what? I'm not going to overthink this. I'm going to go back to my structure, which I want for by the time I get to game week 15 or 16, which will be Kane back in. And to do that, I need a cheap fifth midfielder. So it's going to be Souček, and I'm not going to mess around with transfers for that position anymore. That's it.
We did have a question. We did have a question on the comment section, and it was, in regards to this, who do I take Jota out for? Is it going to be Souček? Is it going to be Ademola Lookman? Now, we go on last week, but not only last week. If you've watched Fulham play, I mean, things happen when he's on the pitch. He's a very talented player. Takes players on. He's got a couple of goals already this season. Is he one that you should be looking at? He does play for a fairly poor side in Fulham, who seem to have maybe revived their fortunes for this season. But West Ham are just flying at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the look of. I thought Fulham, to be honest, played really, really well, and it was, as much as it was heartbreaking to watch it as a Salah captain and as a Robertson owner.
Yeah,
I thoroughly enjoyed the game, and I thought, and I actually said to Lenz, I was chatting to him, and I said to him, we're going to have to watch this, because when fans get back into tight grounds, similar to Craven Cottage, right? That was noticeable. That was noticeable. So I think we're going to very quickly going to have to think about what to do. I mean, it looks like they've gone back into lockdown again.
London has. Yeah.
London's gone back into lockdown, but it may be other areas are going to come out. So, I'm not saying Sheffield, I'm not saying Bramall Lane's a tight ground, but what I am saying it's an intimidating one. And the same with Turf Moor. So there may well be some little changes, we'll see. But going back to Fulham, the player who stands out to me is actually Cavallero.
Cavallero,
He, in the last 3 games, has had 4 big chances. That's top of all players. 6 shots in box. 6 shots on target. That's 3rd out of all players. 13 in the box touches. And he's got an XG of 2.44. And he's scored 1 goal. Now, you know what I think about XG? As much as I talk and scream about XG all the time, that can be because you're very good, or it could be you're absolutely crap.
Yeah.
Right? We've got to decide whether he's good or he's crap. But he might be a punt. He might be that cheap punt that people are perhaps looking for. That would be my.
So what, I mean, if we're talking about,
he's on penalties too, right?
What about Bobby Thorpe-Reed?
Yeah, I mean, again, he's a forward, isn't he? Is he forward? Is he down as a forward? He's down as a forward.
Is he forward? Is he? Yeah.
Yeah, he is. So you've got Lookman or Cavallero in midfield. I mean, Lookman, since he had that aberration with that penalty, seems to have, he's probably had his ass kicked a few times.
Yeah.
Probably lost a couple of weeks' wages for it, and probably realised now that he's going to play a bit better.
So, Mariner, you've gone from Jota to Souček back to Souček. Joe, do you have any other cheap alternatives for some of the FPL community to consider if they have Jota and in need of a replacement?
I mean, if you look at cheap, probably Souček is the one you should go for. He is probably the cheapest of all of them. But if you're going for someone who is probably, I mean, the one that I see the name pop up many times is Pascal Gross. Which
I think FPL just put that into the comment section that his replacement for Jota is Pascal.
He moved back into midfield. He moved back into that number 6 role, though.
Yes, that's a point I wanted to make.
Yeah,
he's on penalties, yes, but he is moving back to the central midfield role. So you other than penalties, probably. Yeah.
To be honest,
if you have a bit of money to spare, what about Wilfried Zaha?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. If you can get to Wilfried Zaha, that is the very obvious choice.
Yep.
But no, Pascal Gross, to be honest, Joe, I was actually, when I was messing around with you in the week saying I was bored of FPL and I wanted to make some crazy move or a couple of crazy moves to try and make it a bit more fun. It was going to be Pascal Gross until he moved back into midfield. And then immediately moved back into midfield, I scrubbed it.
Yep.
All right, guys. Just before we go off to questions from the community, the segment where we answer all the questions they get fired to us, I just want you guys just to pick a couple of players. The big ones aside, players that you feel that have performed in game week 12 that you're expecting, to perform in game week 13. So, for example, Maddison, 2 goals over there. Vardy had a good week. Ings is back into the squad for Southampton. He got himself a couple of assists. Give me 2 names for you, which you feel could possibly explode in game week 13.
Joe?
Explode. Wow.
All right, maybe not explode. Let's not go for a massive haul. But who do you think could get you a decent score?
Oh, I watched the Southampton match and I really liked what Adams was doing in that match. Although the match before that, where Ings come in at halftime, he had 0 shots. But I can see him doing really well with Ings.
Yeah.
So I would probably still, bias aside, I would still see him do rather well because I think he's starting to click well with Ings. So that's
Che
one.
Adams for you.
Yeah, the Shea Adams for me, one. Just probably have to look up some of the fixtures.
Yeah,
Madison. I heard you mention Madison. Madison, he's a great football player, but past season and this season so far he has been hot and cold. The last game was probably his biggest haul in I think this season and including last season. Probably he will still do well, but don't really fancy him that much. Ben Rama is the one that I'm also quite interested in.
Nice Ben Rama.
Oops. Okay, I'll probably
tell you about Ben Rama.
Leave it for you then.
Yeah. No, it's okay. No, you've done it. No, that's fine. No,
so Joe, just to confirm, Ben Rama and Che Adams from your side, yeah?
Yeah. Oops.
Right.
Mariner.
If you're talking about players who I think are going to perform this week, I think well, let's not overthink it. Jack Grealish.
Oh, mate, the amount of times I'm just going to have a little. He's my. Him and Ollie Watkins are my equivalent to your Che Adams hatred.
Yeah, I honestly think, and there's been a couple of mentions on the.
I think VJ is set on captaining Jack Grealish this week.
And I don't think that's a terrible shout.
Really?
I really don't think that's a bad shout. He wouldn't be captain in my. I don't think I would captain him, but I don't think it's a terrible shout. Being honest with you. Ben Rama. Look, West Ham look excellent, don't they?
They do.
Yeah. I have to say, they look really good. Would I double up though with Souček plus Ben Rama or Souček plus Bowen? Probably not.
No, probably not.
But if I didn't own one, who would I buy? Well, if I had that room for that fourth midfielder, I might be tempted to have a little punt on Ben Rama, but I'd probably go for Bowen. And I think he's another option for also another one who he looks a decent player, although he's got Chelsea this week. So, but I think, look, let's not overthink this. You've got players like Jack Grealish. He doesn't go quiet for long. You'll get a return soon, Craig. I promise you.
All right, I'm sticking with him. You sold me. We're going to jump over to questions from the community. This is where you ask us all the questions. We'll do our very best to answer them. And that's why we have the very best in the business on the show in FPL Mariner and Joe FPL. I'm just going to go through the comment section and go through the questions that have been unanswered one by one. Let's see.
I think Dean asked a question twice. Same question. I think we haven't answered.
I've got one. There's one which I didn't really understand, Mariner. I think this is for you. LH44. Talking about LH44 or VB77, Mariner. It's talking about F1, right? So
yeah, 44. I've already answered it.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at that and I was like, I didn't answer that. It's been,
I did.
Yeah, as you.
Remember you gave me the login last week. You forgot about that.
Yeah.
I've got all your emails and everything. I can see what you're doing now.
Dean asks, should I take out Son for Mahrez or Rashford if I don't have Bruno?
Son for Mahrez?
Yeah. So should I take Son out for Mahrez or Rashford if I don't have Bruno? So he's looking for... he obviously doesn't have Bruno Fernandes, and he wants to get in on either a City or United asset. Obviously doesn't have the money to afford Bruno. Should he go Son to Mahrez or Rashford?
I would probably go for Rashford.
Rashford.
Because I'm not sure. I saw some rumors pop up about Mahrez being probably rested again, but I got a feeling, Rashford is probably going to, and another one. Rashford's probably going to have his haul soon.
Explode. Okay.
Yeah.
Mariner, Rashford, or Mahrez?
Again, I would, if I was backed into a corner, I would probably go the Rashford route because I couldn't be certain about Mahrez starting. I don't know. You've held Son all this time. Why sell him now?
Yeah, that's another question I would ask as well, because Liverpool, they are not really that prolific in defense either.
No, they're not.
They're conceding so many big chances as well. So Son is, you concede a big chance against Son, you're finished.
Yeah. Okay, so it will be Rashford for the both of them. But if you've had Son this long, keep him. Rajbir asks, any City attacker you're looking at for this game week except KDB? Now, this should be a relatively easy one, right?
No.
No? No. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was Raheem Sterling.
Well, I did think of that, and I did consider moving Salah to him, and I think you have as well, Joe. But I think, to be honest, the way I look at it is that it just means I've got another transfer to make in the coming weeks, and because I had that fire to put out with Jota, then that defeat, I'm not going to take a hit to do it. So, I mean, look, I've toyed with the idea of when I had that money for Jota, whether I dare run the gauntlet and go towards Foden for a gamble. I did think about it, but I haven't done it, obviously.
Probably should look at Torres instead.
It could be Torres this week, yeah. There's a chance it could be Torres, I think. I think everything, what you're seeing on Twitter, and I mean, I don't know how good the Twitterati are at trying to predict Pep. I certainly can't predict him. But even with the rotation, sometimes it's not even possible to pick him. So it's sometimes worth just leaving it alone and just going in with one good quality asset. I mean, if Aguero was fit this week, and he'd played a couple of weeks by now, I would probably it would have been Aguero who would probably be coming in now.
Okay.
But no, there's no one.
So if you had to pick another City attacker, who would it be?
If I had to, I'd pick Torres.
Okay. Joe?
Sterling for me.
Sterling, yeah. All right, we're going to move on and answer some of the other questions. Mason's pulling the strings. A lot of Mason Mount shots, yeah. I mean, VJ Garb, Wolves without Raul is a toothless attack. I kind of agree. Hassan, think Tammy scored a hat trick last time round. I mean, Tammy Abraham, him or Giroud have to be good value options for Chelsea up front as well, don't they?
Well, definitely, but which one's going to start?
That's the other issue. Let's see who else. As usual, who the captain, Bruno, KDB? We've answered that already. What do you think of my plan over the next 4 weeks? We answered that question. Sorry, guys, just scrolling through the comments. Okay, Dean also asked, do you think taking Son out for Rashford or Mahrez is a good swap for 2 to 3 weeks? Then go back to Son when he has Fulham.
So if you went to Son,
if you went to Rashford, if you took Son or Mahrez,
so obviously we've got Sheffield United, Leeds, Leicester. So Sheffield United and Leeds are good fixtures, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They're very good fixtures. Very, very good fixtures. Both of those defences are, well, crap, quite frankly. Leeds are particularly bad at the moment. Look like they couldn't defend to save their lives. So that looks okay. And Mahrez, obviously, the issue you've got good fixtures, but you've got Pep Roulette there. And I think Rashford's probably going to play. Rashford's more nailed to me.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's where I would go.
So, but would you take them out and then bring Son back in for the Fulham game?
I might. Oh dear me. I think I would be very close to just running with Son now. Actually, I think those two are responsible for something like 80%. They're involved 80% of a Spurs return. I mean, it blows. I think this was credit to who got the assist, because I listened to their pod earlier in the week. I think this morning, yesterday perhaps, and they said it's taken talisman level to a whole new
level. Yeah.
Whole new level. I'll be honest with you. As much as I've benefited from taking them out, I'm regretting it now. I want them back, or at least one of them back soon. I've got to find how to get them in though, and I think Joe, you're the same, aren't you?
I can only probably do Son. I don't think I can do Kane. Just too much for my team to take.
Yeah, it's pop your wildcard and get week 16, mate.
No, I don't have my wildcard anymore. I don't think any of us have.
Football related asks, should I go Kane to Aguero for 1 game week? And that 1 game week, I'm guessing, is this game week. He's not nailed to start, is he?
Nah.
Keep Kane. Football related. Keep Kane.
I wish.
Yeah. Jota replacement 6 to 7.5 million range. Does Zaha fall in that?
Yeah,
6 to 7.5.
4.
So there you go. FPL swing. Zaha is the man that you should be looking at.
I mean, lower wise, you've obviously got Bowen. I think is also another excellent choice, actually.
Oh, Zaha 7.5. Sorry.
7.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. So you've got Zaha 7.5. You've got Bowen there as well, and I think if you've not got a West Ham attacker, then that would be a very, very reasonable option. I think the problem is a lot of people who I know, because I've told them about Souček enough, have all got Souček, which means if you can't get to, like I think Kieran's asked a question on Twitter, if you can't get to Zaha, who do you go to?
Yeah,
you're not going to double up on West Ham. Then it's a real problem. So I would really have hoped that Barkley might be back by now.
Well, he from the press conference, he's been training, hasn't he?
Yeah,
and they decided whether to involve him.
And I think if you check back on the videos back 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, I think I actually said that I would have no objection doubling up Barkley and Grealish. And there is double game weeks coming up, so I think again, if you've not got Watkins, then that might be a decent move in weeks to come, but not yet.
Yeah, okay. FPL Swing asked a question which it's something that I've been looking at personally for my team. Is it worth looking at John Stones? I think he's about 4.8 million. Now Stones has come out from nowhere to dislodge Laporte, Ake, and whoever else that they've got in their many millions of players that they have available to them. But Eric Garcia is the other one, sorry. But at 4.8, I mean, he's looking nailed on right now, isn't he? And he's showing some good form.
Yeah, I mean, Stones, like what you say, he come out of nowhere. But, he's just only a mistake away from being rotated again. That's what Pep says, The fact Stones is there because he hasn't made a mistake. That's what Pep says. So by the time he makes a mistake, you probably panic because Laporte is probably just waiting any time to come in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, you can bring him in, but once you notice that he makes a mistake, it's probably another transfer out.
Yeah. I don't have the balls to bring him into my FPL team, but I play him in the 5-a-side competition I'm in every week. Because he's great value, but you just don't know. You just don't know he's going to be nailed, right?
Yeah, correct.
He's just one mistake away, and I think they're all out. To be quite frank, now I think he's said, hasn't he? He said if you don't perform, you're out of the team.
Yep.
He did, but then you've also got performing players like Cancelo that misses out, Foden that misses out. So it's a bit of a weird one with Pep. You just never know which way he's going in terms of team selection, which is why we call it the Pep Roulette. What's up, gents? FPL Hafiz here. Good vibes. What's up, FPL Hafiz? How you doing? Good to see you on the stream. Gonna go scan down and look through. Dean M goes, Mariner knows his facts. Man's built different. That is very true. He is the stat man, and he knows his facts as well. Scrolling down there. Good FPL. Is there any evidence to support KDB being a rotation risk? We think not. We've looked through it. His Champions League midweek rest should be enough to see him good for this week. So if there are any doubts in terms of captaincy for you, stick it on him. The boys are all going KDB as of now. Unlikely. Sheila raises a good point. Unlikely KDB will be rested considering they are 9th in the table and can't afford to drop points. Okay, here's an interesting one. We're talking about differentials in terms of captaincy. What do you say for Rashford and Mahrez or Raheem Sterling captaincy? Now we know the FPL herd will be going with either KDB or Bruno Fernandes. But what about a differential if you have them? Rashford, Mahrez, or Raheem Sterling?
Right. If you're looking at my metric, which is actually on Twitter, it will tell you.
Do you have it up here?
Let me drop it on the screen. Hang on a second. Bear with me. I'll just have to.
No worries.
How can I do this?
Hassan says being a United fan is a big factor for him captaining Bruno Fernandes. Okay. I think, Dean, you've asked the question about 5 times. Would you take Son out for Mahrez or Rashford? We say keep Son. Don't get him out. Keep him.
I'm not going to change the answer.
Yeah. we know you. I mean, if you had to pick one, I think Rashford. I think the boys have said already. Mahrez is a bit of a rotation risk. Rashford is more nailed on to start games. So if you're really set on taking Son out, that would be the one. Rashford would be the person that you go to. But generally speaking, the boys reckon that you should be keeping Son and not taking him out. We're going to go to the metric just for you, GW13, and let's see what it says up on here. Mariner, talk us through it.
So basically, it's got Mahrez in second, and the reason, I mean, he just loves the fixture.
Yeah.
He just absolutely loves the fixture, and he's been fairly consistent. And also, he's only played 37% of Champions League time as well. So whilst he is playing a lot more league time, he's still playing. I think he's started heck of a lot of games, hasn't he? For them, he has. Yeah. He is still also resting a little bit. It also that expected points. Average 8 points a game at the moment is expected to be getting. So I mean, again, it looks to me Mahrez isn't a bad option. But if he's rested, of course, this thing doesn't work out whether somebody's going to rest or not. It can't. So this is where the gut feel comes in. If I was to pick one out of those 3, I would go against my metric, and I would go with Sterling.
Interesting. Okay. And is that just due to the rotation risk?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right, there you heard it, Roger Bear. Raheem Sterling, if you had it, and the only reason, although the metric says Mahrez, rotation risk is a big factor. It doesn't calculate it, but we feel that Mahrez might be due a rest, but we're good for Sterling. So do take that into account if you're looking at a differential captain. Astrolicious One, our good friend, asks us, which one do you prefer to switch Andrew Robertson to? Reece James, Cancelo? Sorry, wait. Let me start this question again. Which one do you prefer to switch Robbo to? Reece James, Cancelo, Diaz, or Walker? So basically, one Chelsea or one of the City defenders.
Joe?
I mean, if you really need the funds, you might as well go for James. Because firstly, he seems to be nailed right now. Cancelo, Diaz, or Walker. Tough to say. I mean, basically, you're asking whether to go for James or to go for a City asset. I'll probably go for James. But if you don't need the money, probably just keep Robo.
Okay, so if you are looking to take Robertson out, Reece James is the one you should be looking at instead of City defence.
That's just how I feel.
No, that's true. Mariner agreed.
I was just going to look at me fixture difficulty for defence. I mean, Chelsea. I've not got the actual games up, but I mean Chelsea again look okay. I think the problem you've got with the other players is rotation. Like all of those, and I think people have run into difficulties with this already. If I've got a 5.5 defender, I'm probably going to want to play them.
Yeah,
I probably don't want them to play. I wouldn't want them to be risking rotation. That's the reason why I never brought Cancelo in at the outset, because I couldn't decide which one to bring in. So I think my view would be, and I may well do this because I am tempted to double up on Chelsea defence, and I already own Chilwell, so I think it would be Reece James for me as well.
Okay. So Astrolicious 1, Reece James is the one that you should be looking at. Ali Sufyan asked, should I play Souček? Current front three is Adams, Bamford, and Wilson. Now, Souček in the last couple of weeks has really come on and has got us some really good points. Some of us have got them, some of us haven't, due to him being the first on our bench. But should we be looking at playing Souček this week?
Against Crystal Palace, isn't it? So the answer to that is yes. West Ham against Crystal Palace, yes. They headers-wise, they are creating a lot of headed chances, and Crystal Palace are conceding a lot. So this could be another Souček week. The problem is Souček actually going to continue at this rate? The answer to that is probably no. Probably no. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get something this week. And in fact, he can get one any week, quite frankly, because again, the bloke, he's a nuisance, isn't he? He's always in and about the box, and he's causing a lot of trouble. He scores scrappy goals and goals where he puts his head where other people wouldn't put their head. In my experience, So I think he's a great player to have. I'm starting him this week. I brought him back in. I will start him this week, and I think the games which West Ham have, I've not got the fixtures in front of me at this moment in time, but I think there's at least 2 or 3 options to start him in the next 5.
Okay, Joey, do you agree with that? Play Souček against Crystal Palace?
I mean, if you're looking at Souček himself as a player, he probably should do well against Palace, but it also really depends on who are the rest of your midfield, which you didn't share. So if you're looking at Souček against Palace, then good option.
I was going to say
he also asked.
Sorry, Craig. They've also, just to let you know, West Ham. So it's Crystal Palace at home, Chelsea away. You'd probably bench him there. Brighton at home, Southampton away. So I think there's a couple of games there where you'll certainly probably start Souček, I would say.
Okay. He goes on to ask, does he start Justin or KWP? Now, there's an argument. FPL Schweg says KWP because Arsenal are toothless. But is it too dangerous to underestimate this Arsenal side? Or is that the right choice? Play KWP.
I'm playing him.
You're playing KWP.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a funny one. I think the choice between Justin and KWP, it's Everton, isn't it? There's still no great shakes no great shakes defensively. So it might not keep a clean sheet, but he might get something because he is. I have to say, Justin looks really good going forwards, doesn't he?
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
KWP. Look, I've had him all season, and he's been great for me. But he just does bits. He doesn't really. He's not. He's a bit boring. He's a bit boring to own.
Yeah.
You know, just bloody attack, man.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen him play last game week. I don't think he has done anything going forward. You know, it's just little bits of passes here and there. But you know, he didn't even bomb the right flank. You know, like what he's known to do compared to Lamptey. You know.
Yeah.
But Lamptey's only got one leg again.
Yeah. Well, his hamstring is ridiculous. The amount of injuries he's had on that this season.
He's made of glass, isn't he? I said he was the other week, and then you said, no, it's because he's getting over his injury. He's got over his injuries now. He's got another one.
The same one.
For God's sake. I might get rid of him. Actually, I tell you what, I think Lamptey might be the best one to get rid of, because. From my point, if I'm trying to save some money, the only problem is I would go to Jamal Lewis, you know, my mate. I keep telling you about it. The trouble is he's got 4 bloody yellow cards now as well. So you don't want to bring him in.
Yeah. Definitely not.
That's me rant for the night, boys. Anyway, Tariq Lamptey.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think we did speak about him months ago, I remember, and just imagine if he actually, on the back of having such a good season with Brighton, got to move to a top 4 club or a top 6 club and had to play 2 games a week. Jeez.
Every time I bench him one week and he plays, then I bring him in the following week and he's bloody injured. Three blaming times now.
Or he gets a red card.
Well, yeah, don't start. Yeah, but I benched him that week. Because he was playing, so I benched him. Right? You know, you weren't listening to me, mate.
Joseph Yo, aka Baby Wales, how you doing, mate? You all right? Hope you're enjoying the show so far. Hadi Raihan asked, Kane and Jota out and Bowen and Watkins in. Now, that's a big one. What do you boys reckon?
Kane and
I see you looking a little bit puzzled there, Joe.
Yeah, I mean,
Kane and Jota out.
The rest of the money go. Where do you put the rest of the money?
Yeah, I was going to say, where's the rest of the money going?
Yeah. There's nothing else up here. Hold on. He's got another comment down just below. Maybe I'll take out Jota to Bowen or Souček instead. # trusting Kane.
I think so. I wouldn't. If I owned Kane now, I'm 3 weeks personally away from buying him. Probably. There's no way on earth would I take Kane out now. To be honestly, unless his leg falls off, he's a season keeper.
Yeah, definitely. He's also. Let's see who else is there. Salah to blank and Souček for a brace. Wow, that's interesting. That's quite a prediction.
Yeah, all right, let's go. I'll have a bit of that.
Ali Sufyan Ruslan says, never trust your gut if it says Captain Jack Grealish. Did that and he blanked. Yeah, I think it's a very risky one, but Vijay Garv is a Villa fan and his gut is also Villa.
I reckon he'll be totally fed up anyway because he's just got about an £80,000 fine for drink driving.
Yeah, he's been in court today, hasn't he?
I reckon whoever's on the wrong end of Jack Grealish this week is going to get an absolute tanking. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't score he doesn't do quite well.
G Ticto asked, which 2 would you bench between Robbo, Souček, and Rafinha?
Robbo, Souček, or Rafinha? Well, I would play Souček.
You'll play Souček?
I would play Souček for sure. I don't. Robbo. I'm playing.
If you're playing Souček, then you're.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to play 2. Sorry. If I was going to play. That's tough because you know what? My gut always tells me to play. If I've got a 7 million defender,
yeah.
Why is he even in my team if I'm benching him?
Yeah, yeah, I get you.
But you know what? After that bloody performance against Fulham, it wouldn't surprise me if I don't think I can see him keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah,
I really don't. I think that those two, the dynamic duo, as I call them these days. Again, it was another one where I was hiding behind the settee on Sunday, watching them two. It's dangerous. It worries me.
Okay. Kieran asks, should he axe off Tellez to get to Zaha? Need 0.4 million. Now, Kieran, I saw your tweet out to us, and you are looking for a Jota replacement. So you need 0.4. But do you take a hit for that? Mariner, you probably know a little bit more about this and the team. I'm guessing you've seen it as well.
Yeah, I mean, Palace have got West Ham, Liverpool, Villa, Leicester, then Sheffield United. But Zaha is the talisman, right?
He is.
And then I think the fixtures turn really nice after that. So I think the fixtures turn back favourable again. I don't know how many playing bench players he's already took 2 price drops probably on Jota already if he's still got him. Does he just go with the flow and just and wait, and see? I'm not sure. I don't know whether
Jota's out for a long time, isn't he?
He is, but I don't know whether I wouldn't maybe if you don't have to play. What options have you got? I mean, does he want to take a hit or does he want to get away?
That's what I'm saying.
Chuck him on the bench, and then move next week for free. Can he get away with that? I mean, because there's not a great deal. I mean, there's probably some upside, I would say, against West Ham. So it's perhaps worth it. But I don't know. I'm really hit. I've only took 2 hits all season.
Yeah.
So I don't like hits.
Joe, what do you think? Should he does he need to take a hit to get Zaha in, especially when he needs that 0.4 million extra?
I mean, Zaha, not sure whether he's worth a hit. Especially he plays away this week. But then again, you by keeping Jota, you really need to absorb the price drop from. Personally, if you're looking at Zaha's the fixtures, playing West Ham away next week. He's playing Liverpool at home, and he's playing Villa away. I don't think it's worth bringing for a hit for this week. Probably better if you bring him like what Mariner said with a free transfer, probably after the Liverpool match.
Yeah.
Or even the Liverpool match, because
he'll score against them.
Liverpool concede so many big chances.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see where we are. Sorry, we didn't really get back to G Tikto. He asked about who does he bench. So if he has to bench 2 out of the 3, which is Rafinha, Souček, and Robbo, who are we benching? Give me 2 names to bench.
All right, let's go for it. Play Souček.
Play Souček.
I'll probably play Rafinha.
Play Rafinha. Okay, there you have it. There you have it. It's been answered. Sorry.
There's one subscriber lost.
Sorry for not getting back to you earlier. FPL Swang. Rather boring KWP to score me points than a lively Lamptey Blanket. I totally agree with you there, mate.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, but I own them bloody both.
BJ Garb, will you stream the matches? Matches kick off at 2 a.m. over here. It's way too late for us to do a live stream. So no chance of that this week. And the last one, Hadi Rahin asked, other than Souček, Lookman looks really promising for 5 million. And we did speak about Lookman a little bit earlier on the show. Not a bad asset to have at 5 million, especially if you're looking, or especially if you feel that Fulham have turned the corner. He could be one that could be fairly interesting.
Yeah, as I said earlier on, given the fact that he's probably had a complete bollocking for missing that penalty.
Yeah.
He's looked a different player. He looked dangerous, didn't he? It looked
did.
dangerous.
It looked very dangerous.
Quite frankly, everybody did. Because Liverpool couldn't pass to each other. And just whilst we're on Liverpool, has anyone noticed just how bad TAA is these days?
Yeah.
Because the reason Fulham were pressing, that there was so many balls going astray coming out of that defence. I don't think they put two passes together in the first half. But that's why
they were really bad.
Lookman looked really good, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, look, he's he could be he's an option, isn't he? And they've got a couple of reasonable. I think they've got some slightly better fixtures. Well, they have Brighton, Newcastle, Burnley in the next few weeks as well. So I think, given that, I think that they don't look so bad. Would I invest in a Fulham player though? I don't know. That's just me.
Dean asked, is Lamptey ruled out against Fulham? No, he's not ruled out. He's actually back training. So we expect him to start. Yeah. He's back training.
Fulham will score, though.
Fulham will score.
Fulham will score.
Okay.
Lamptey might get something. If he doesn't get sent off or his leg doesn't fall off.
Dean goes, hopefully Son exposes Trent. Then I'm coming back to this stream to thank you for making me keep him. Well, I don't know what to say. I really don't. I mean, I do want Spurs to beat Liverpool, so yeah, I'd go with that. But I know a lot of people have Son, so I don't really want him scoring either. So I'm a bit 50-50 on that one. But yes, guys, that's all the time we have for now. I think we've gotten through all the questions that have been fired at us. Joe, thank you so much for making time to come on the show. Appreciate that.
Is he there? Are you there?
Yeah. I'm just looking at another question just popped up.
Oh,
you know what this stream's about, man. You know what this? I'm going to get my beauty sleep.
Okay. Last question. Let's go. Ali Sufyan. I know it's 7 million, but Robbo or Justin to start. I know Robbo's not going to get a clean sheet, but will he be returning in the attack? Go on, Joe. I'm coming straight to you. You've wanted to answer this one.
I'll probably still play Robo.
Still play Robbo?
Yeah.
For Rafinha a few minutes ago.
He's comparing two defenders, you know.
Oh God. So you play Robbo?
I'm going to stick
I'll play Robo.
Play Justin.
Okay, so Ali Sufyan, this all boils down to you. You've got Mariner going with James Justin. You've got Joe going with Andy Robertson.
Bear in mind, I am a Robertson owner. That's how confident I am this week. It's going to be a 1-0 win to Spurs.
There you go.
And it'll be a Harry Kane penalty.
Wow, there you go. He's been having conversations with that cat again, I think. But
I don't know. I'd bother. It's fast asleep snoring at the moment. So
all right, guys. Thank you so much, Joe. Once again, thank you so much for making time to come onto the stream, and I'm sure the FPL community appreciate that.
Thanks for having me. I mean, it's always a pleasure to just chat with you guys. Basically, I'm just like chatting with a bunch of friends, you know.
It is. It's crazy. It's so good. And then we have a lot of people watching us while we do it. Mariner, thank you so much for all the stats, for all your insights ahead of game week 13. I'm sure the FPL community feels that's invaluable information that you've been passing on to them. So thank you for making time as well.
It's all right, mate. I mean, it's as I second what Joe says. You know, it's always good fun to be on these, and I think we've just got to. These matches are coming thick and fast. You know, so
they are.
We'll just have to just try and. It's the most wonderful time of the year, isn't it?
It is, as they say. But I do have to remind you, I do feel it's a bit of my duty to remind you to take care of yourself and obviously get enough rest, despite turnarounds and things like that.
No problem at all.
Yeah, and most importantly, thank you to all of you out there that have been watching this live stream. It's been great having you guys on as always. We do appreciate you coming on the stream, firing questions at us. Thank you once again. I know it's been a late one, especially if you're in Southeast Asia. We started it at 9 p.m. So it's coming up to 10:20 now. So we've done a good hour and 20 minutes. So I hope it's proved to be insightful for you guys. I hope you got the questions that you needed to be answered. And I hope we've made that KDB and Bruno Fernandes captaincy decision a lot easier for you. But if you do feel that you want a little bit more, we have a second show coming up for you later today. It's about 10:20 now. So in just over an hour, I'll be doing another show, a deadline day special. Shouldn't be saying deadline day because then it sounds like the transfer window. But it'll be a deadline, game week 13 deadline special. It'll be me and Surya from All About FPL. And we'll be going on with you for about a good, hour to 45 minutes just into the deadline. So if you still are unsure of which transfers to make or who to captain, please do tune in. And obviously, if you are up and living in Southeast Asia, please do tune in and give us some support. We do appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching. This is me, Craig. I'll see you in just over an hour. Take care.